All right, what is going on, LBHT crew? Listen, the Panthers didn't have a great outing.
What?
After coming off their first win, we had predicted 2 more wins in a row. Didn't quite go down that way this past weekend against the Colts. And listen, this is easily Bryce Young's worst game.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to take any. Take anything. I don't want to shift blame away from him because we know what it is with the O-line. But he definitely played his part in this loss this week. However, speaking of the O-line has been consistently horrendous week in and week out. And the hope was they'll start to put it together, to start to gel a little bit. They won't be as bad. But they are fighting against it, B. And leading that charge is your top draft pick, Ikem Ekwonu, right? Where was he drafted?
Oh, the exact number. I want to say it was 9th, but I have to look.
Okay, yeah, but it was a top 10 pick. It was a top 10 pick. Here, I'll pause it.
Boss is the one that they probably should have taken there.
Okay, so he was drafted
6th overall.
6th overall.
Yeah.
And you're just saying that Charles Cross went after him. Where did Charles Cross go?
Seattle.
I think he's doing pretty well over there.
Yeah.
Now, it's easy, especially when you're losing, to really just say, hey, this person sucks. This person, get them out of here, right? You get a little bit of that with Bryce Young, right? You get some fans that are just like, he ain't it. Look at CJ Stroud. We should have gotten CJ Stroud, right?
Forgetting that Bryce Young outplayed and beat CJ Stroud the week before.
Correct. We've gotten that with Frank Wright. Hey, Frank Wright on a hot seat. Might have to get him out of here.
No, got no words of defense for that one. He was not high on my list of guys to hire, so I would not be upset if they fired him.
I wouldn't like it.
I like the staff more than I like Frank Wright.
Yeah, but I don't think Frank Wright's a bad coach. I think he's a very solid coach, and you got to have the consistency with your young quarterback.
Yeah, no, right. I don't think he's a bad coach either. I'm just saying I would preferred a younger head coach. He wasn't real high on my list. In fact, if you remember, at the time we were talking about it because we were also talking about the Ravens and their offensive coordinator position. I thought, hey, he'd be a good hire for offensive coordinator for Baltimore.
You did say that.
He was not on my radar for Panthers head coach.
True. Okay, fair enough. Now, okay, everybody's caught that smoke, and Ekwonu is no different. Okay, he's playing awful. That's not in question. The question here is he a bust? He was drafted 6th overall, right? Now, if you watch the show, you guys know we have different terms here for bust and busted picks. Okay, this is something that you're going to hear us talk about often here. Okay, a bust is a highly drafted player that just career-wise didn't work out. A busted pick is a player that didn't work out for the team that drafted him. He may have gone on to play great somewhere else, just not for the team that drafted him. Now, with that being said, is he trending towards bust? I know a lot of people want to call him a bust. This is his second year?
Second year.
He still has a whole career in front of him. So it is too early. But could he be a busted pick?
I mean, it's certainly possible, right? I think it's too early to say that as well. We don't have a great amount of respect for what PFF does in terms of their like grading offensive linemen, but just for context, in his rookie year, they graded him a 65.3 overall. He had 13 penalties and gave up 6 sacks. So far this year, he's grading at a 61.1. He has 8 penalties so far and has allowed 5 sacks. So, in terms of the grade there, not too far off of what he was doing in his rookie year. Obviously, he's trending to surpass the penalty and sack numbers, and that's pretty ugly. But I think what's going on is a little bit of the same thing that's going on with Ronnie Stanley in Baltimore, where the expectations were just much higher than his level of play right now.
Yeah.
Not that he's the worst tackle ever, not that he's a bust or a busted pick, and they're gonna have to get rid of him and get somebody else in there. Just that we expected a lot more. We expected a lot more out of the whole O line, to be honest, right? And like you said, it's the same thing with Bryce Young right now. You kind of, Panthers won 7 games last year. They were 1 win away from winning the division, and you kind of look at it and you're like, man, you're a quarterback away from winning that sorry ass division, and they got the quarterback. But there's obviously other differences in the team. When you say that, you weren't predicting that DJ Moore was not going to be on the team at that point,
Right.
But I thought that they would win this division because it's not a good division, and I thought that they were better than that, and particularly with the coaching staff they brought in, that they would be able to win that division. It just hasn't happened, hasn't come together. Obviously, the O line's a large part of that, but like you said, we're getting the same kind of thing with Bryce Young. It's 7 games in, and it's, oh man, you picked the wrong quarterback. Oh, he's a bust. Blah blah blah. I see people calling him the 3rd or 4th best quarterback from that class, and it's just way too early for any of that. And I feel the same way with Ekwonu. Offensive linemen can take a while to really adjust to the NFL, particularly at left tackle. And the reality is they don't have a 1st-round pick this year. So they're not really going to have that opportunity to replace him with a highly thought of talent anyway.
Right.
And they have other holes to fill. They have their 2nd-round pick, but you have to get somebody for Bryce Young to throw the ball to right there, right? And they do have other spots on the line where they can use that pick. They're going to need a new right tackle. Probably going to be looking at a new center. Hopefully they're okay at guard with Corbett and Christensen and Zavala. Out of those 3, hopefully you get 2 starters there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to have to just ride with Ekwonu for the next couple of years and see if he turns that corner, and hopefully he will.
Yeah. So my thing is this: when you see everybody playing bad, that's coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
That O line, we didn't think was going to be this bad. On paper, they don't look this bad. Some of these guys in the past have performed a lot better.
Well, that's the crazy part, is because they actually retained the O-line coach from last year, from the previous staff, because he did such a good job. And like I said, injury is a part of it. Christensen's out, Zavala's out now. Corbett is just coming back from a torn ACL, so obviously he's not going to be 100%. So that's part of it. But it's wild to see how bad they've been after how promising it kind of looked last season.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake keeping him, right? And I'm not even saying he's a bad O-line coach, but clearly he's not a fit for what they're trying to do. Like the scheme matters too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly a different scheme, and what he's teaching them just doesn't fit well with that. Man, like, I don't want to get rid of him now, but it would probably help to get rid of him now. Right? Because I just listen, man, I personally don't think that the guys that you have on your O-line are that bad. I just don't think they're that bad. I think they're not playing well. I think there's a disconnect somewhere. The whole offensive line unit is playing horribly. That's not because of lack of talent. That's coaching.
I think that I think the injuries to the interior really derailed it. Ekwonu is obviously very young. It's his 2nd year, so you had to kind of expect some up and down with him. I mean, you had hoped he was kind of trending, to avoid most of that, but he's a 2nd-year player. Taylor Moton's getting a little older, and he's been up and down throughout his career. I would say mostly good, but he's been up and down. But on the interior, like I said, you're missing 2 guys who Austin Corbett played well last year, and you're expecting Brady Christensen to be that other guy. And then, you get Chandler Zavala, who played next to Ekwonu in college. And you thought, hey, maybe we can plug him in there, worst case scenario, and because they were a wrecking crew in college, right? But all three of those guys are out or have been hurt. Christensen's been out almost the entire year. Corbett had missed everything up until the last couple of games, and like I said, he's not going to be 100% coming back from an ACL tear. And Zavala he hurt his neck a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly when he's going to be back in there, but I think that really derailed the development of the O line. And because you on the O line, you want to get your five and just get them playing together, and they can build that chemistry and everything. They haven't really had the chance to do that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame the coach so much at this point. They have to get everybody back, get everybody healthy, and again, they're a young group, and there's going to be growing pains there.
Yeah.
I still believe that they have the right talent, and they just got to ride it out at this point.
All right. Yeah, it's a very tough situation, man, when you see your quarterback getting beat up, right? To me, you have to make whatever adjustments that you have to make. You can't let your young quarterback just take those hits because it starts to affect them. And I think this game against the Colts, you start to see it a little bit, right? Obviously Bryce Young is tough, right? I know people make fun of his size, whatever. I think he's a tough quarterback. You gotta be tough. You gotta be mentally tough to play behind a line like that and stay in the pocket and try to make your reads, knowing that you're going to get hit. If eventually it's going to affect your decision making, it's going to affect how you're throwing the ball because you're anticipating getting a hit, right?
And I do think Bryce is physically and mentally tough. I think he's dealing with it well so far. This is why it was so important for them to go out and get a wide receiver at the deadline to kind of help alleviate that. Because one way is better talent or better play on the O-line. Another way is getting rid of the ball quicker. And you get rid of the ball quicker in part by having guys who can get open quickly. They don't really have that. They have one guy in Thielen who can get open pretty regularly. The rest of the wide receiving crew is not playing particularly well.
Right.
And that's why they had said that it was a big deal for them to go out and get a number one wide receiver for Bryce, and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I mean that was unfortunate, but at this point it looks like it's just going to be this way for the rest of the season, and they're going to have to open up the checkbook in the off season and get things right on that side of the ball.
Yeah. All right. So I think we both agree that Ekwonu is too early to call him a bust or a busted pick. It's only his second year. Doesn't look good by any means, but offensive linemen sometimes can take time to develop. And we got to see what moves they make in the offseason in terms of, a shakeup on that coaching staff, namely the offensive line coach. I think he needs to be out of here. Again, that's not to say he's a bad coach, but he's not a good fit. So I think he needs to go. Are they going to add some other veterans in free agency, which they probably need to do, but they have to do something to get that O line because the whole unit looks terrible. So too early to say. And we're going to have a lot of questions this offseason because obviously it's not going well. It's trending towards a high pick for the Bears.
For the Chicago Bears.
Yes, for the Bears, who you're playing this Thursday.
Crazy. It's like this is a no-lose situation for Chicago on Thursday.
Right. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of questions this offseason, and we're gonna be talking a lot about who should be keeping their jobs, who should be moving on. There's gonna be a lot of moving pieces, but yeah, man, it's not easy when you're going through a rebuild to sit there week to week and watch your team take these lumps. But I think you're going to start trending in the right direction sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
All right. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are if you are a veteran fan of the show and you're looking to support further, okay, there's a couple ways you can do that. One is right below B, $LBHTShow. That is the Cash App. It's also what we use for our super chat when we do live streams. Okay. You leave your donation, leave your comment, and you'll get a nice little animation right here. next to me, microphone man, will salute with a raised fist. Okay. Also, patreon.com/LBHTShow is where you can sign up for our membership. Okay. We give you all kinds of dope perks, including the overtime show. It's a bonus show that we do after our main show, which you can find every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So consider joining the Patreon. Okay. Make sure you subscribe. Check out our live show. Go over to our website, lbhtshow.com, and sign up for our newsletter. All right. We haven't even put our first one out yet. It's coming soon, though. It's coming soon. Okay. But yeah, that's it. All right. Ekwonu, not a bust yet. Not a bust yet. Okay. See, there's still hope. All right, y'all. We will see you on Wednesday. Have a great night. Peace.